As always, donate to Jumpstart. Jumpstart helps economically disadvantaged kids play team sports, which is something that's near and dear to Rachel and I's hearts. So if you go to the links in this description below, pretty much all the information that you will need to donate is there. So we really encourage you, if you can, to do so. Again, it's a great cause. We love Jumpstart. They are our charity of choice. If you can, please donate. I'm going to do this relatively precariously. There we go. We're back.
Mike, are you drinking?
I'm drinking a Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. I'm drinking the healthiest soda you can possibly drink. So this stuff is like crack, man. If they ever come out with like scientific data, like they did with like cigarettes, where like they came out where like, oh, by the way, this thing you've been doing forever is actually killing you. But they did that with like zero sugar soda. It would be the equivalent of me smoking like 5 packs a day. Like it would, like I would be dead if they were like, this is actually really bad for you. I'd be like, well, I'm gonna die then. Like
that's me with Coca-Cola, except now that I'm with Nick, he like he's like, we're not having this in the house. You can drink ginger ale. So whenever I'm in New Jersey, I don't drink Coke. So that's like half of every month that I don't drink Coke, which like for me that's a big difference.
It's a lot, but here's the thing though, Rachel. I said like if one day they come out with a study saying it's bad for you, we've known that Coke has been bad for you, Coca-Cola, for a very long time. Pretty much since its induction.
The other Coke was bad for you too, though.
The other Coke had the other Coke in it, okay? Yeah. Like, so, you know, like, at least you're not doing that, but still, like, it's... Speaking of, I don't know, bad habits, some segue. Every once in a while, Twitter comes through.
And it is few and far between right now.
Few and far between, but every once in a while, Twitter comes through. There was last night. The Atlanta Hawks held a game.
Okay. And
at halftime, they do a fun little. And by last night, I mean
Tuesday.
A couple nights ago, Tuesday. They at halftime, you know how like the Leafs do it, where it's just like, all right, you got to hit this shot from 3 different angles, and you can win like $100 gift card or something. Like yay.
Yeah.
So they had a competition where it was like a layup contest, and then you had to do like tic-tac-toe, like I think, like bring it to the front. And so it didn't really go that great for one man. And
oh, no.
Rachel, I'm going to need you to bring up that video, and I'm going to need you to watch it.
Okay.
Connor, our producer, will input the video through the magic of technology.
All right.
But
here we go.
So I want you to tell me when you watch it, because I'll watch it along with you.
All right, I'm watching it right now.
Still place it on the board, and the first to get all 5 game pieces or tic-tac-toe will be our winner. So, James,
it starts out normal, nice, Go, all right.
Tic-tac, go! Oh, James! Oh, no! Hold on. Let's make sure my guy is good. Oh, man.
The guy's still going. His opponent is still going.
Fair game at this point. James!
Still doing. He doesn't give a.
Okay, I watched that guy land. He is having surgery.
Look at it. Like what I want to. Exactly. I want you to listen to like in a second here. Look at the face that this woman makes to the camera.
I mean.
She hits it with like a Jim from The Office, like I don't know, kind of thing. That guy tore his ACL.
Oh, what?
First attempt at a layup, he slips, falls, tears his ACL. His opponent does not stop. Like his opponent keeps going. Looks over, sees that the man is like down. There are paramedics around him. People with like fluorescent jackets.
And I will tell you right now, this is the last time they're hosting anything like that, because talking about the United States of America, There will be lawsuits.
I feel like they make you sign a waiver before you do something like that, right? Like, you'd have to.
I feel, yeah, potentially. But, like, oh, man.
Like, for example, like...
What was the prize?
I don't know. I don't even know. Like, that's the thing.
Does
I don't
it
even
matter?
know. It was probably... It doesn't matter. Nothing... I think there are very few prizes that you can win in a game like that are worth a torn ACL.
Well, like, okay, so let's say, because they always do this during March Madness, like, they bring a student down and it's like, you could win free tuition for your degree. I will take a torn ACL if I'm getting 100 G a year for whatever. By all means, please. You know, in fact, I'll volunteer. Like,
like, you can tear it right now. Go for it.
I will donate my ACL to your research department for free tuition.
Like donating your body to science. Like, yeah. I'll donate my ACL.
But you're still living.
But like,
we have some great ideas on this show.
Oh yeah, but considering
this is a hockey podcast,
exactly, and considering it was a Tuesday night Atlanta Hawks game, I have to imagine the prize wasn't too crazy. I have to imagine it was probably like a signed, like, not even a Trae Young, like a signed. I'm like,
no, it's probably like a $200 gift card to the store,
to like the team store or something like that. Like, it's, and now that
like,
guy's
in that case, yeah,
that guy's gonna be like he's, the thing is, that's a normal human being. That's not an athlete.
I feel like the Hawks need to like hook him up with like some medical help.
The Hawks need to hook him up, like, if they're they're not going to hook him up with medical help. They need to hook him up with like merch or something, because
yeah, you can't just be like, all right, you like that's not gonna cut it.
I want to break, like how would you as a host have handled that? Would you have handled that somewhat similarly, or like, because I was surprised at how she just gave up at the end, like trying to spin it. She was just like, all right, like, man.
See, I don't know, because I think I'd just be in such shock that I'd be like, all right, you won, cool, but like, let's maybe revisit what's happening over here. Or like, I don't know, maybe she got something in her earpiece that was like, listen, let's just leave this where it is, and and like, let's get this thing, because we need to put the lights out to the sap kind of thing. Honestly, I have no idea how I would handle something like that. I can tell you for sure, there's no chance I would get by without swearing. I'd be like, God damn. Like,
yeah, you'd be like, oh.
If you think about it, yeah, she's got to narrate this thing that's going on. And it's like, if I see that, I'm like, damn! Like, I don't know.
Crazy.
I don't know that I'd be able to do that. Like, and this is why I'm not a host. I could not be Danielle Bain or Danielle Emanuel or any, like,
that's
what
I was thinking,
chance.
like, how Danielle Emanuel would handle this. That's what I was wondering, like, how Danielle Emanuel would have handled this if she would have.
Well, she's a professional, not like us.
Exactly. And another unrelated to hockey thing, and this happened a couple months ago, but we didn't talk about it, but I really wanted to break it down. And we're talking about sort of like team prizes and whatnot.
Okay.
So, are you aware of Paul Skenes?
Yes.
Yeah. So, incredible pitcher. Guy can throw like 104 miles an hour. Dating Livy Dunn. You know, like, they're a media power couple.
Has a dope mustache.
Has a great mustache. Like, he's you know, one of the best pitching prospects ever. You know, he was like, he barely spent any time in the minors, and he immediately came up and dominated. Great guy. So naturally, when you have a player with that much potential, like, his rookie card is going to be amazing. And this is like pulling like a Sidney Crosby, like, you know, Alex Ovechkin, you know, Connor McDavid type rookie card. Like, he could go down as one of the best pitchers of all time. So, some kid, an 11-year-old kid from Los Angeles, keep in mind, it's 11-year-old. Like
yeah, God, didn't he get like a box for Christmas or something?
So he got like a box for Christmas. He pulls a 1-of-1 Topps, you know, like Pittsburgh Pirates Paul Skenes rookie card. So 1-of-1. There's one made. It's the, like, basically the rarest card out there, because he's like,
for that year.
Yeah, because Paul Skenes is like the top sort of like young player in the game. It's crazy. The Pirates obviously will want to recoup. They want to recoup.
The card, but they're the Pirates and they're cheap. So good luck with that. I remember this story, and I feel like I was actually following this because I started, like, I saw it on Twitter one day, and I was like, I'm not a card collector, but I am a memorabilia collector, and Mike can vouch for the level of soccer memorabilia that I have. I have some one-of-one stuff. If the thing is I mean, cards have never done it for me, but I understand the memorabilia side of it. And I've always kind of looked at it as, if you're the team and you can make the offer, and I think every team should if they want that card back or that piece of memorabilia back, in the same way that, like, when Jeter hit his 3,000th hit, right? Or Shohei's 50-50, like whatever it may be. The team can make the offer, but at the end of the day, if the person says no and this kid sent it to auction, the reality is you're a sports team. You can outbid pretty much any non-billionaire for this. So if you don't get it back, that's your fault as far as I'm concerned. And this kid, I don't love how the mom and the parents handled it at all. But at the end of the day, if the Pirates wanted to pay, they could have matched whatever offers somebody else gave them. Because it's not like Bill Gates or Mark Cuban was going to rock up there and be like, here's $150 million. Like, you're the Pittsburgh Pirates. You own a baseball team. You're a billionaire. You can afford to drop 10 or 15 million bucks to get this card. Like, this is, I don't understand that side of it. In the same way that the Dodgers, like, there's no amount of money that the Dodgers owners can't pay to get Shohei's 50-50 ball.
So it eventually went for $1.1 million at auction.
Yeah, like, incredible. Come on, Paul Skenes can pay that.
But I don't even think Paul Skenes can, because his rookie contract, like, it's fine, whatever. But the Pirates are a they're a $1 billion organization, and yet they're notorious for being like the cheapest one. But I want to list the, like, I'm sure most people who are listening to this have already heard this, but I think it's an interesting conversation to have, because I want to list what the Pirates offered this kid in exchange for the card.
Okay.
Have you seen what they offered him?
All I saw was that there was like 2 seasons tickets. I didn't see anything else. So
the Pirates would receive the Paul Skenes one-of-one debut patch autograph card, like the rarest card out there. In exchange, this 11-year-old would receive 2 Pirate season tickets behind home plate for the next 30 years. It's not bad. Like, the best seats in the house, the best seats in the house for the next 30 years. He would receive a meet and greet.
You could sell them.
Yeah, he would receive a meet and greet with Paul Skenes. Okay. He would receive 2 Paul Skenes autographed jerseys. Okay, not bad.
Okay.
He would receive a softball game for 30 at PNC Park with coaching from Pirates alumni.
That's cool.
That's pretty sick.
That's pretty cool.
He would then get a private tour of Pirate City and Lecom Park. I'm assuming that's their spring training facility. And if I was 11 years old, this would be the number one draw for me, is that he would also get to watch a Pirates game with Livy Dunn in her suite.
Ooh.
I don't know if an 11-year-old's turning that one down.
Yeah, I think Daddy may have something to do with what decision was made.
Now, would you have taken that?
As somebody who doesn't. So, as someone who doesn't buy cards, yeah, I probably would have. Because, like, all that stuff.
Put in your perspective. Think about this as, like, and I know you have, like, access to your favorite sports teams, but, like, I'm trying to think, like, pretend like you've never seen or talked to anyone at, like, Bayern Munich or the Leafs or anything like that, and you get offered this, and you're 11 years old.
I would
you?
100%.
Do you think your parents would let you take it?
Okay, so this is where that comes in. My parents have raised me and raised me to make my own decisions. And yeah, I do think that we would sit down and we would talk about it, but I think ultimately they would let me make the decision. And that is, it would be my decision. Now, let's call a spade here. 2 season tickets to Bayern Munich for 30 years are worth far more money than the Pirates.
Let's say,
and the Leafs too.
10. It's 10 years.
Yeah, okay. You know what? Yeah, I think I'd probably take the experience. I'm somebody who values experiences over money. So to me, like, to be able to have that experience, have that story, because I know that the way they went about it, I know that pissed off the Pirates, and out of spite now, like, that kid probably still wants to meet Paul Skenes. If I were the Pirates, I'd be like, no. Like, too bad. We gave you your chance. You don't get now. Like, that...
Or I would be like, you can meet Paul Skenes, but Dad has to wait in the car or something.
No, literally, too bad. You don't get it, and you can be mad at your dad. Like, that's the thing, is like, and I guess maybe because I'm not like a card collector, so this, like, that stuff, it is kind of foreign to me, because all of my memorabilia has come via the, like, working in sports / whatever the case may be. Like, I don't buy...
Like, you've picked it up along your way.
I don't buy sports memorabilia, is what I'm saying. Like, I'm not a collector in the sense of, like, I'm going to go to an auction and buy it. Every piece of sports memorabilia I have has either been a gift or I've got it through my job, which, in fairness, I earned. So, I guess it's maybe a little bit of a different situation. Now, that kid is going to get the presumably less taxes and fees, a significant amount of money to set him up for probably the rest of his life if they approach this correctly. And that's fantastic. Like, you could absolutely do that. I just think that the experience for me is probably and yeah, you know what? Maybe I don't know what their financial situation is, right? So I can't speak to that. Maybe that money helps their family dig out from whatever. Like, honestly, if you're a family that's impoverished, which, like, given that they're living in LA, is probably difficult to believe. But
they're not.
Let's say it's like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, right? We're talking about, like, a kid that has, like, nothing. You pull that card, absolutely, you take the money. Like, that's a no-brainer, right? But
the kid skips home from the card store. You know, both sets of grandparents are in bed because they can't walk.
I'll give you a free bike.
I got a golden ticket.
Yeah.
Like,
the guy that offers him a bicycle, like, no, get out of here. But or
it's like, run home, Charlie. Run home.
Yeah, like, then fine. But, like, the odds of this kid living in LA and being, like, impoverished and getting cards for Christmas are real thin. So, I mean, I think it's a bigger conversation in terms of, like, as a society, are we at the point now where we legitimately don't care about experiences? We just care about the dollar value? Because, I mean, that's not great either, right? And I think that kind of speaks to some different things that are wrong with society when you start putting just cold hard cash above a lived experience. Maybe not this particular lived experience, but, like, let's use the Dodgers, for example, right? Let's say for Shohei's ball, they'll, like, you
like
have tickets to
team.
every single... like, let's say one of the things that they offered was you have tickets to every Dodger, like, season tickets, but you also have access, like, home plate access to every World Series game that the Dodgers play while you're alive. That immediately, I'm like, okay, take the card, like, right? Or a meet and greet with Shohei. Maybe you get I'd be like, I want batting practice with Shohei. Like, I think the Pirates probably could have done a little bit more. Like, if I were the Pirates, the first thing I'd be doing is finding out what sport this kid's into. Because if he's into hockey, I'd be calling up Sidney Crosby of the Pittsburgh Penguins and be like, hey, I need a solid kind of thing, right? But generally speaking, I'm always a lived experience person over, like, money. So, like,
I love my parents dearly. you know, Michael Sr. and Jennifer, love them dearly. There is no freaking way that they would let me take the experience over me if I was 11. Not a chance. They would see oh, he can pay for university and he can have like a down payment on a house, and he over what Mike would go to watch baseball all day for the next 30 years. No thank you. There's no way that they would let me do that. And also, to be honest, I was not mature enough at 11 years old to make that decision for myself, because I would have been absolutely, and I would have skipped school every day to go watch baseball in the afternoon every day, and they would have just be honestly, that offer might have ruined my life. I would have started living at the stadium after a while. It would have been crazy. But I think that's just it's so fascinating. This kid pulls this thing and they do everything they can. But if I were the Pirates, I would have figured out that's a great idea. What sport does this guy like? Because I'm assuming he loves baseball, but does he play hockey? Cool. You get Sidney Crosby. Hey, can you do us a solid? And also, I would fund that kid's minor league hockey team for the next I'd be here, check it out. We'll also make sure that you have I wouldn't force Fanatics on anyone, but let's say they were still using Adidas at the time. I'd be you have Adidas jerseys, for
as long whatever team you play on.
Hey,
yeah, I just
exactly, and you all get a stick deal, you all have custom sticks, you get to be that team, stuff like that, things that would really I'd even go, if I were the Pirates, I'd even go unethical and be I would even call the kids' schools and be talk to the teachers and just be yo, we'll give them a 10% bump, kind of thing, stuff like that, or be yo, give them an extra recess period or something like that, every day, stuff like that.
He all of a sudden he becomes TJ Detweiler.
Exactly, do really, or just be you get, Skittles forever. Whenever you want Skittles, you can just call us and we give you Skittles. Or it's something that that a kid is obsessed with. Be you get unlimited Fortnite battle pass purchases.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. To me, it's a card. This is, I guess I don't get it.
It's history, though.
Yeah, no, I get that part of it, but I've never been a card collector, so I don't know. I don't understand the obsession with it. And you've seen some of the stuff that I have, and it's not a card. We're talking about,
it's good stuff.
Yeah, we're talking about
sticks or jerseys or something
that were worn in the Olympics, or worn at the World Cup, or whatever the case may be. It's I guess cards are just kind of I don't know, they're cards, right? So I don't know. I guess I'm probably not the best person to say I probably would have just given up the card for the experience, because whatever. Because I have a couple pieces of memorabilia where I'm people have offered me a lot of money, and I'm no, you can't, because it's irreplaceable. You can't have this, because there's a couple things where I actually can't replace them. Right. And that's why they're in a display case. And whatever. So yeah, I think here's a great a thought. What happens? Let's say Ovechkin scores the goal to break Gretzky's record, but on the goal his stick snaps and a piece flies into the crowd. Let's just say something crazy. Right? Or in excitement, he tosses his stick into the crowd. Because, it's Ovechkin, that might happen. Obviously, the Hockey Hall of Fame needs that stick. Right? What do you do to get it back? Now, Ted Leonsis is worth $1 zillion. So, and I also feel Ovechkin, let's call it, Paul Skenes is great. We're talking about the greatest goal scorer of all time. I can comfortably say I don't think Paul Skenes is going to be the greatest pitcher of all time.
You never know.
I I don't think, given where like the changes in pitching and how things are, and the fact that he plays for the Pittsburgh freaking Pirates,
He won't play for the Pittsburgh Pirates forever.
No, but what I'm saying is like Alex Ovechkin.
Yeah,
Like
I know
we're
what you
talking about a guy who's going to end up on the Mount Rushmore of hockey, potentially, right? I think, first of all, if that happens, you're never going to be, and you say, oh, I'm not going to give the stick back based on whatever like they offer you and the money and whatever. You will literally never be allowed at an NHL rink again, because anytime you go anywhere, you're going to get recognized and people are going to mercilessly torture you. And it's deserved at that point, because that stick, that puck, any piece of equipment he is wearing that day belongs in the Hockey Hall of Fame. That's where it belongs. It doesn't belong in your house. It doesn't belong in a safety deposit box. It doesn't belong in your man cave. It belongs at the Hall. And obviously it's different than a Paul Skenes rookie card, which was made to be like a piece of memorabilia. But like, I don't know. Like, I think there are certain pieces that just belong somewhere that isn't someone's house.
If the Hockey Hall of Fame calls me for that, I am taking them for every penny they are worth.
Well, I don't think it would be the Hall of Fame. I think it'd be the Capitals, and I think it'd be the NHL.
If the Hockey Hall of Fame, with their backwards ass, like politics infused selection style, haven't selected Alex McGillney ever, waited until Pat Burns died.
That was crazy.
To induct him, kind of thing. If they come to me groveling for a piece of memorabilia, you better believe I'm taking them for every penny that they are worth. Every penny.
That building is worth a ton of money.
I know. I used to work in that building. I know. Like, it's a lot. Speaking of things that are worth a lot of money that are acrimonious. Rachel.
Yes.
I'm not sure we'll go back to baseball, and I promise it will tie into hockey here. How much baseball have you been watching lately, Rachel?
Are we talking about the torpedo bats?
We're talking about the torpedo bats.
Oh, you have no idea how much money I've made on these torpedo bats.
So, for those who don't know, the New York Yankees, they realize that a lot of their hitters are missing the barrel of the ball. Like the bat, like there's a sweet spot on the bat. It's a little bit up, sort of. Like
every player has a different sweet spot.
Yes, but there's like a general area where like most players' sweet spots are, and they're realizing that a lot of their hitters, the way they swing, the way they approach the like their plate approach, they find that the ball gets like they make contact with the ball sort of closer to the neck of the bat, away from where the natural sweet spot of the bat is, and so. Because the rules only state that a bat has to be a certain diameter and a certain length, like there's no rule against it. They have essentially created custom bats that move, that they put more wood towards the middle of the bat, making it look something like a bowling pin, kinda, in a way. And in their first game with these, they hit 9 home runs.
Okay, so I think there's a couple things worth pointing out here. Number one, the guy that came up with this idea has a PhD from Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you know a lot about MIT, but it's very hard to get in. So we're talking about a very smart individual. They employed him as an analyst. That guy, Aaron Leinart is his name, it now works for the Miami Marlins. So he's not even with the organization anymore. Mm-hmm. And this research has been ongoing for years in the Yankee organization. So it's not like they just appeared out of nowhere. And I think it's worth pointing out that Aaron Judge is not using this bat and is still leading Major League Baseball in home runs. So does the bat help you? Yeah, it unequivocally does. I mean, I spoke to a couple people who played college baseball about this, and I was asking, and they said, yeah, it absolutely helps you. But if you're Shohei or Aaron Judge or Marcell Ozuna, like a legit slugger, if you're good enough, you don't need that bat.
You just got it.
You have it. Aaron Judge hit 3 home runs in that 9 home run game with a regular bat. Like that, and that's the thing is like, does it help a guy like Anthony Volpe? Does it help a guy like Davis Schneider who's using it? Does it help Adley Rutschman? Yeah, it does. And of course, yeah, hey, there's going to be more home runs. But we always talk about this as it pertains to hockey in the playoffs. In the playoffs, you can get away with murder, basically. And if you can play to that envelope, you gain a competitive advantage because technically you're playing within the rules, right? Okay, well, this bat is within the rules. So are the Yankees and other players, like, let's not pretend for a second that it's only the Yankees.
Everyone's using them now.
The Dodgers have 3 guys that are using them too, and they just won the World Series. And it's not like the Yankees are doing it and no one else is doing it. So as far as I'm concerned, if you're more up in arms about the torpedo bats than you were about sticky stuff or steroids, we need to have a conversation because steroids were never allowed. Ever. Mm-hmm. Right? Torpedo bat is within the rules, and if MLB changes the rules, then they change the rules. But right now, as long as you and your equipment are following the rules, just because the Yankees are doing it, that doesn't mean nobody else can do it. So instead of complaining, just go do it. Like, I don't get it.
The Jays have one player so far that is using it. It's Davis Schneider, and he hasn't hit a gosh dang thing so far. I think it's awesome. Like, I think it's brilliant.
Francisco Lindor, one of the best shortstops in baseball, has done all this year, and he's using a bat. Yeah. So I don't know. At some point, I don't think it's the bat.
Now, I want to know what hockey's version of a torpedo bat would be. I want to know how we could make a hockey version of torpedo bat, and because there's like, and the first thought would go to a stick.
See, I don't think it's a stick.
What do you think it would be then?
I think it's goalie equipment.
Yeah, that's where I was going to.
I think it's already been outlawed. I think it was the jerseys. Remember how the jerseys you could have like the thing? Patrick Waugh actually was famous for it. Had basically from the elbow to their hip, and it was just like a slack thing, and you could catch a puck in there so that it closed like the I believe it's the 7 and the 8 hole. Like, and now they have to wear proper, normal jerseys that are tapered. I don't think it's a stick because you look at it like Ovechkin's curve has been measured 8 million times, and it's legal, even though it's
barely.
Right, Ryan O'Reilly's stick is it's pushing the envelope. It's legal though, but I think goalie equipment is probably where you have to go with this.
So here's my version of the torpedo bat. It would be goalie equipment, but it would be there's a polymer out there where it basically looks like a liquid, but when you punch it, it like absorbs all the shock and it like doesn't move. My version of torpedo bat would be reboundless pads.
Oh, I love that.
Pads where a puck hits it and it just dies. You do not get a rebound. You coat those pads in that polymer. Because think about it, like
somebody get me Joseph Woll and Anthony Stolar's pads.
Like, let's go
immediately.
Because the rules of it's like, yes, it has to be like the rule for goalie pads is it has to be a certain size, and there's like certain color considerations you have to have in it and everything. But it's the Air Bud rule where it doesn't say anywhere in the rules that a golden retriever can't play basketball. So technically you can do it. And I think that like whether it's you put it in the pads or coat the pads with it or something, I think that like. You could obviously make a stick that has like a huge paddle, and Leon Draisaitl basically already has that, but like could or something like that, or like like there are obviously the sticks back in the day that had like the RBK stick that had the holes in it, like that.
There's the current Bauer stick that has the hole in the blade.
Yeah, that only one player uses these days
because the sticks break.
Yeah, but like I think that like. Using that material, reboundless pads. Imagine you have a goalie, you go into the playoffs, the first time a guy takes a clapper, hits the guy's pads, and the puck just dies. Like it just falls right down.
Yeah, they'd be like, yo, look at this guy's rebound control. feel like that might raise
my
alarm bells real quick, but it would be less obvious than a torpedo bat, which is literally a different shape.
It would also get banned. Like, I also think
It would get banned in 4 seconds.
you were saying, like, let's call Anthony Stollers and Joseph Wall. The Leafs do that. It would get banned, like, before the game ended.
Mid-game.
They would get, like, an emergency Board of Governors meeting together and, like, crazy. Now, Rachel, before we head out of here, for our Lifeline, I thought I'd give the floor to you because you've been doing a lot of traveling lately, and we were texting in prep for the show, and you have some thoughts on airport etiquette that have been going on. I'll give you the floor for that.
Man, okay. We need to have a chat, and you don't travel a ton, so I'm gonna bounce these off of you.
I don't.
And I need you to tell me, like, if this is insane to you.
Hit me. Let's go.
Okay. You show up at the airport. To check in, there's economy, there's priority, which is like if you're flying business class, and then there's super elite, which is like if you're flying so often that you hit a part of the points where it's like, all right, you're getting the red carpet type situation. If the line is too long for economy, are you automatically allowed to go into the super elite line?
No.
Is that how that works? I don't think so. Do you get to throw a tantrum because you showed up late for your flight and there's a line?
I would say no. Okay. I would hazard a guess and say no.
So, perfect. Glad we got there. Now we're in the security line, right? You got to go through security to get on an airplane. This is not news. Breaking news. You have to do this. Do you get to take up all the stations for yourself, or do you go to one and you put all your stuff in one and push it through?
I run between 3 security lines, putting one item in each bin. I go, but, that's what I do.
Spray. Okay. Mm-hmm. If you have a child, do you
already I'm against this person. Okay. Continue.
If you have a child, do you automatically get to go to the front of the line?
No, it's not my fault that you had sex. I never consented to you having sex.
I did not sign up for this. Right? All right. Here we go. Now we're boarding the airplane. And this one drives me insane.
Tell me this isn't all the same person, by the way.
No, we're talking about various people I have seen over my travels.
Okay,
all right. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, there's an announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to begin boarding. If you have pre-printed on your ticket where it says zone, you may now board. Somebody in zone 5 stands up and gets in line. Okay, just so we're clear, there's pre-boarding, then there is zone 1 and 2, zone 1, then there's zone 2, then there's people who have children who need a little bit of extra time, wheelchair, XYZ. Then there's zone 3, 4, and 5. They haven't called zone 1 yet, which means they have not called first class passengers yet. If you stand up and line up, as far as I'm concerned, they should be able to tell you that you are now the last person to board the plane.
Like, you should be shot.
You're literally at the back. You're done. Here's what I figured out, though. So airlines, I don't know what they're doing, but because they've lost so much luggage, people have started carrying on. There's not enough room in the aircraft for every single person to have a carry-on, right? But people, if you buy a basic fare, you're zone 5 because you paid the least amount of money, you don't have any points or whatever. So you board the plane last.
Yeah.
Right? That's how this works. So you don't get to throw a temper tantrum because zone 3 and 4 get to board and their carry-on gets on and yours doesn't. If you want your carry-on to get on, maybe buy a different fare so that you're not in zone 5. I don't know. But trying to board when they've called like zone 3 and you're zone 5, to me, immediately I would be like, you are now the last person to board the plane. All of you, last person to board the plane. Like, I don't get it. But then the best part about it is they'll line up and they'll go and they'll be like, it's zone 3, we're zone 5. They'll get up to the front And the stewardess will be like, I'm sorry, we have not called zone 5 yet. You need to step to the side. They don't tell them to like leave or do, far more polite about it than I would be.
Mm-hmm.
And they start throwing a temper tantrum. They're like, well, I'm already here. And it's like, well, you shouldn't be. You literally shouldn't be. So then there's that. Then we get to being on the airplane. Okay? And this is where it gets wild. If you have a child, children are allowed to cry. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Like, especially when they're young. And you can't, like, is it annoying? Yeah, it's absolutely annoying. But if the kid can't communicate, like, we're talking about less than 4 or 5 years old, right? You can't really communicate. I totally get it. If you have an 8-year-old that's having a temper tantrum, that is a completely different story. Get your kid under control. The second thing is, as a parent, you have a responsibility to make sure that your child is not kicking the seat or whacking the seat in front of them back and forth to the person in front of them. Control your kid. Just because you're on an airplane doesn't mean it's anarchy. You still have to be in control of your kid. If your kid is crying because they're a newborn, I have no problem with that. I totally get it. It's probably more embarrassing and uncomfortable for the parent than it is for anybody else. But if you have like a 7 or 8-year-old throwing a temper tantrum,
as far as I'm concerned, like once a kid turns like 4 or 5 until the age of 11, 10, maybe at the least, they should ride with the dogs in the cargo like port. Like they should be put like in the cargo port. Like I don't consider them part of the general population. Like put them in a crate and put them in the bottom of the plane.
No, but like what? Like all I'm saying is like I'm empathetic to the kids that can't communicate because they don't have a way of communicating. Once you can talk and
Once
you can
gain
communicate,
sentience, yeah,
you and the kicking of the seat. Like I've turned around before and I've said to the parent, I'm like, can you manage your child, please?
Mm-hmm.
Like I've been on flights where, and it hasn't happened to me directly, but there have been times where I've been on flights where kids are throwing things at other people, and I'm like, bro, like if that happened to me, the level of anger that would be directed at that person would be
oh my God,
insane. Yeah. And then finally, and this is like my biggest pet peeve. This is no fly list behavior as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, what is it?
The plane lands. The plane lands. Okay? Mm-hmm. You are on the runway.
Oh, yeah. I know where you're going with this. Oh,
your seatbelt should be what?
Fastened.
Fastened. Should you be taking your suitcase out of the overhead storage bin?
No.
Like, I feel... Okay, glad we're on the same page here. So, Mike, you've been on an airplane. When the airplane doors open, what is the general procedure of getting off of the aircraft?
You wait for the person in front of you, and then
Correct. You go. So what row goes first?
The first one.
Row 1. Okay.
And so forth.
Right. If you are seated in 36F and you think you are sprinting to the front of the plane to be the first person off, I have stuck my foot out before.
It's just not happening.
So here's the thing. Every so often, and it's rare, every so often, if your current flight's delayed and you're flying into a hub airport, you're flying into Pearson, you're flying into John F. Kennedy, you're flying into O'Hare in Chicago, they'll make an announcement. They'll say, ladies and gentlemen, we are delayed. There are people with connections, like tight connections. Please remain seated to allow those people to deplane and make their connections. Okay, once that happens, I'm usually seated in the first few rows. I'm like, cool, I'll chill, because I've been in that position before. I want those people to be able to make their flight.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, if you start sprinting to the front of the plane before the door opens, I'm putting my suitcase in the aisle. I'm putting my foot in the aisle. You are not getting off. That is no fly list behavior. You are not allowed to do that. And if that announcement gets made about the delay, and please let these people deplane, and you get in their way because you are so self-important that you think you need to get off with these people, I honestly think they should hold you there and be like, you are now the last person to get off the plane. Like that,
100%.
to me, the lack of self-awareness is insane to me. It's just absolutely insane. I don't understand it. So, airplane etiquette, show up on time, go into the correct line, don't be a disaster at security, control your little child. If they're a baby, you get a free pass. Or even a toddler, you get a free pass. Totally cool. We were all there once. But number one, if you try and sprint to the front of the plane when the plane lands, as far as I'm concerned, you deserve to be tripped and split your face open because you tripped. Like, no fly list. That to me is like the most egregious airplane nonsense imaginable. And like, this goes without saying, but like, if you start causing a scene and mistreating the stewardess, they should be able to toss you out of the aircraft mid-flight. Like, they honestly, they should just be able to open that door and be like, goodbye. Like,
I'm not sure if do you know who Peter Schrager is?
yeah.
I love Peter Schrager. He's an NFL commentator, insider, you want to call it. He's well regarded as like one of the nicest guys out there.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
in media. He's one of the nicest people out there. Very jovial. Like, he's always excited about something. He's always very happy. And one of my favorite stories is like he's flying to the Super Bowl and there's this kid and he just turns like, and Peter Schrager, like the boy-like joy, just turns around to the kid and goes, "Cut the shit." And the kid, and then the kid stops. But I'm like, if Peter Schrager, the guy who, like, you know, you could punch him in the face and he'd shake your hand and say thanks, kind of guy, like, is driven to madness by this stuff, then, you know, it's a problem.
So I have a question for you, because I want your opinion on it. I have mine. Let's say you're sitting in your seat, right? You've paid extra to have your window seat, right? Mm-hmm. Some parent comes and they're like, "Hey, like, I didn't pay for, you know, like, the seat arrangements, but like, I have my kid. Can you just move to like this seat so I can sit with my kid?"
You know, my response to that would be, I would say, you have 5 seconds before I remove your head from your body. Get out of my space. So, it is not my fault that you did not plan properly. Leave.
Proper planning prevents piss poor performance.
There you go.
Right?
The P's.
Now, if it is a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old, you know what? I might say, buy me a drink, we'll be good, kind of thing. Or let's say it's a child that has autism or Down syndrome. They need assistance from their parents. I am always going to move, no matter, because at that point, it's about the kid. It's not about the parents' piss poor planning, right? It's about making sure that the kid is comfortable, right? But if you're just like, oh, I just didn't feel like paying and then I want to sit next to my kid in a seat that you paid for, no. There's a lady who has the same opinion we do, and the mother started filming her.
I've seen this,
and she's suing now, and like rightfully so. And it's like, no, you could have paid. It's like an extra $23 to reserve a seat. If $23 isn't worth it to you, then I'm sorry, but you being separated from your kid is not my problem.
I think that's a great message, PSA. I think that's also a great way to end it, because you know what else? You know what should be your problem? Donating to Jumpstart.
Yes.
They're a charity of choice, and they help economically disadvantaged kids play team sports, which is a cause that is near and dear to Rachel and I's hearts. All of the links will be in the description of this episode below. If you can, able to donate, please donate to Jumpstart. They are a charity of choice. Rachel, I sincerely hope that you have better airport luck going forward in your travels here, because I hope
this week was not fun.
Yeah, and I hope next week you do not have similar stories to share.
I'm flying again next week, and let me tell you, Mike, if I have an experience like I did this week, I will be hearing about it. Opening the show.
I cannot wait. But until next time, folks, we will be out of here. Rachel, do you have anything to leave our lovely listeners with before we head out?
Donate to Jumpstart.
Boom. Peace.